One of the things I've really enjoyed lately, especially this off season here, is catching up with people that I know that I haven't seen in quite some time. This guy right here, he moved just a little while ago down in North Carolina. He's down in Wilmington. And if you were a Sportsman and Modified fan here in Central New York, especially at Brewerton and Fulton Speedway, you know 35-year-old Mike Bowman very well. Of course, his dad raced for a long time. His number 16 was a mainstay at all these tracks. Ran Sportsman starting 2002, picked up somewhere around 3-4 wins there. Went modified from 2007 to 2019, picked up 10 wins there. So let's head on down to North Carolina, find out what's going on with second-generation driver Mike Bowman. How you doing, man?
Good, Doug. How are you?
Good. So what's it like down in Carolina? You tell me you're in a different line of work than you were up here.
Yeah. I started a construction business doing a lot of home renovation projects, kitchens, bathrooms, tile work, decks. There's a lot of work down here, and I turned wrenches for a long time and kind of did that on the side up there. And then when I moved, we didn't have the family business, obviously, so I went out on my own doing this. And
Okay.
Fast forward a few years, my dad moved down and he went to work for me. So we just kind of switched roles and switched what we do for a living, but it's at least back to normal with me and him working together.
Nice. Although you tell me you do keep in touch and you have been up here in Central New York. You're actually helping out some people.
Yeah, I mean, obviously my cousin Jimmy Phelps, we're pretty close, so we talk quite often. And Andrew Ferguson's one of my best friends. I talk to him literally every day, multiple times a day, typically. So I'm as involved as I can be from 12 hours away, but not as involved as I would like to be. It's one of the you miss family, you miss friends, and I miss racing terribly.
Do you almost wish that, because we and I were talking about this, and if you know anybody who's gone to Carolina who's come from racing up here, they all say pretty much the same thing. Did you almost wish you could be in Carolina and bring the racing here with you almost?
Yeah, I mean, if you could pick up our type of cars and our racetracks and the procedures that we have in place and put it down here, it would be great. Or just take the taxes and the weather down here and put it up there, and it'd be great. So, there's no place I'm sure that's perfect. In my position, family is the most important thing, and this was the best decision for the family.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't regret it in any way, shape, or form, but it's certainly, racing definitely dominated my life for virtually the first 30 years of it, or close to that. And so it was a hard transition to go from something that I dedicated basically every second to that I possibly could to just cold turkey walking away. And besides coming up there a few times, each summer, and then like last year coming up for Dirt Week, since I moved, I've been to roughly 5 or 6 races since I moved, and I would go to 75 a year at least up there from the time I was 8 years old to the time that I moved. So, big change.
Well, I remember at first you were going to do some late model racing down there. What changed?
Well, I mean, they allow the 604 late model stuff here, but they run it against the limited late models, which are basically an open 360 motor, and you're going to be short 300 horsepower. And,
that much, really?
It's I mean, there's some pretty radical engine stuff down here, and I talked to a few of the big engine builders for the late models, and they all pretty much said the same thing, that the limited 360 class is completely out of control in the cost for the engines compared to what you can race for. And
wow.
All the sponsors that I had for years and the people involved didn't move with me, so it's just financially not really in the budget. And I don't really care to crate race, and the racing's just nowhere near as good. So if you're not going to have fun with it, it's really not something to be involved in.
Well, isn't it mostly asphalt tracks down there? I mean, are dirt tracks rare, or?
In where I'm located, the closest track is a late model track. I think it's Carteret Speedway. That's about an hour. The closest dirt track's about an hour and a half, actually just over the border into South Carolina.
Okay.
So, I mean, in my area, I would guess it's kind of split 50-50, but you're going to drive an hour at least to go race no matter what. And the pavement deal, I guess that's kind of the same everywhere, where you're going to spend most of your day there with practicing and all that stuff. That's definitely not for me. So now we watch a lot of flow racing and Dirt Vision, and pretend to know what's going on.
There you go. And you're not the first person to tell me this, because even my dad at one point was like, why do we all move down to North Carolina? There's a lot of racetracks down there. But you tell me that it's, well, I don't know what to put words in your mouth. How is the racing in Carolina?
It's pretty, it's a lot different than New York. Nowhere near as good. For as far away from the best times that racing is in New York, and a lot of people that grew up doing it can see the difference now. I still don't think that people realize how spoiled we were up there, and probably still are. It's just the racing's not overly good. The racing procedures that they have here, and I'm biased from being a New York modified guy, of course, but in my opinion, it's just it's nowhere near as good here as it was up there. Between the surface and the cars and the race procedure, it doesn't promote great racing, in my opinion.
I remember Darrell Waltrip, they were talking to him once about his younger brother, Michael. This was many years ago. And everything is by time trials, and I guess he would start on the pole and win, and his famous comment was, I've never seen him pass anybody. But that is kind of the way it is. It's all on time trials, and anytime you do time trials on an asphalt track for a short race, it just doesn't seem like you're going to have good racing. Is it that simple?
I think that's a huge part of it. It's no matter where you are in the country, no matter what class of car, you're going to have your 5 or 6 guys or less that are really tough to beat and win the majority of the races. And then when you set those guys in the top 5 spots based off time trials every night, the smaller teams or the guys that are younger, less experienced, whatever the case may be, you really limit their chances of winning a race. And I spent a good portion of my career looking forward to being able to be handicapped up front to try to win. And down here, unless you time trial well, you're never going to have that. So some guys race their whole career, looking at it as we might get lucky because we'll start up front and we can hold them off. And down here, I think that really it stops a lot of people from wanting to continue to do it. If you go there, start 15th and finish 15th every night.
Yeah. But if you line up like that, especially, are the tracks racy? Because that's always a big component to it too. Some tracks are just racier than others.
No, none of them that I've went to, which I think, once again, a lot of the country thinks that the Central New York slick tracks are terrible, and that promotes racing. A, it promotes great drivers, and B, it promotes racing. And down here, every track that I've attended is usually locked down, hammer down fast all night with one preferred groove. And when you look at the track, you would think it's getting slicker, and it's just getting more abrasive to where it's even tougher to pass.
Really?
So the longer distance races they turn into tire wear races, and the short distance races, when they start the fast guys up front, they chain race all night. Nothing worse than chain racing, in my opinion.
No, I agree. You said there was one late model race you actually left, right?
I watched the first 50 laps, and there was a break at lap 50, and for 50 straight laps, they ran follow the leader, and the only guys that passed were if they drove in the left rear of the guy in front of them, either hooked them or blew the tire. And I said I watched enough of this and left.
Okay. I'm limited to 10 minutes because of the format of the camera, so we only got about another minute to go. So outside of all of that, what's the biggest thing you do miss about up here? Not racing. Let's get off the racing side of it. What do you miss about our area?
I spent a lot of years snowmobiling. I really liked that.
Okay.
I miss that as well, which doesn't sound like it's been an overly great winter for it.
No, there hasn't been a lot.
And you miss the people. Obviously, most of the people that I spent a lot of time with were in the racing community, so not to bring it back to that, but that's who you grow up, your big extended family. And I obviously have a lot of family left up there that I miss, and a lot of close friends, and you miss the people. You'd love to be able to move everybody to wherever you go, but that's just not the way life works. And, you stay in touch as much as you can, but you definitely don't stay in touch as much as you should.
Well, hey, I appreciate you calling me back. I want to thank Mike and his dad. They helped me out with a lot of stuff over the years, mostly car-related, to help keep me going. But next time you come up, please give me a heads up, and I'll make sure we meet you somewhere with the camera and let everybody see how you're doing, okay?
Absolutely. I appreciate all you've done for racing. Thank you.
Thank you. Hit that blue E, guys. Turn on the likes, subscribe, notifications, all that good stuff. So let's, you got somebody you want me to get a hold of, let me know, and I'll track them down for you. Thanks again, Mike.
Thank you.